Krishna. So I'll just check to make sure I've got it working on Facebook. Okay. Haribol Krishna. Welcome to my kirtan and Bhagavad Gita class. Tonight we'll be studying Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text 50, where Krishna describes that yoga karma shuka jalam, that yoga is the art of all work. So we'll be speaking about that. So we'll just chant for maybe 10 minutes or so. Haribol, thanks for joining me. Saraswati Devam Puravani Pachari Devasesha Sunyavare Paskachari Satarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Areta Dharadara Sariko Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sariko Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Areta Gadadhara Sariko Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Vishnupad Paramahansa Parirajika Satara Sadashishima Jagakuru Sadaswarupananda Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pairajagasatar Satashishimad. His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koda Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Asadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur's World Mission Ki Jai. Navadvita Dhamma Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai. Mathuradam Ki Jai. Mayapurdam Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to some devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Gaura Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol. Amagina Timarandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chaksurun Militanyena Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stathvitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Sva Padantekam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatham Vitam Tam Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavenbhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Maum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahansa Nitinamine Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahansa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prastayate. Before speaking on Bhagavad Gita, first I offer my respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Jagatguru Siddhaswarupananda Srila Prabhupada, whose very dear Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada is the mercy manifestation of Lord Chaitanya, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, and very dear to Radha and Krishna, Radha Krishna Prastayate. And I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are like wish-fulfilling trees, able to fulfill all the desires of the fallen living entities, and full of compassion upon them. Namaste, Haribol. Thanks for joining me. So we are continuing with Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, and this section of chapter 2 is about Buddhi Yoga, sometimes described as Nishkama Kama Yoga, or sometimes described as Bhakti Yoga. And in chapter 3, Krishna calls it Kama Yoga. So there are three three different terms here being used. And, so buddhi means intelligence or discernment, so the yoga of discernment. And bhakti yoga, of course, is the yoga of love. And karma yoga is the yoga of action or karma. And so these three words are almost used interchangeably here in this section of chapter 2. Well, actually, karma yoga is not used until chapter 3, where Krishna himself says, well, I've explained it to you in terms of Sankhya and in karma yoga. And it's like, well, Krishna never used the term karma yoga previously. But, bhakti yoga, as I was describing last week, and hopefully I won't be too repetitive, bhakti yoga is the ultimate yoga, the topmost yoga. And, the top of the yoga rung, like the yoga staircase or the yoga steps, bhakti yoga is the ultimate yoga. But bhakti yoga includes within it buddhi yoga or yoga of discernment, yoga of intelligence, and also includes within it karma yoga, the yoga of action, and also jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge. And so when Bhaktivedanta Swami and Srila Vishwanath Thakur in particular, and other Vaishnava acharyas as well, they're translating this buddhi yoga as bhakti yoga, or devotional service. It's because that devotional service, bhakti yoga, it includes the yoga of discernment or buddhi, intelligence yoga. It includes the yoga of action, karma yoga. And so bhakti yoga is all-encompassing. And as we discussed last week, that at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna just abandon all varieties of dharma or religiosity, all these different philosophies and that I've spoken on, and actions, sannyas yoga, the yoga of renunciation, or following the varnashram duties, karma yoga, all of this, just abandon it all and just surrender unto me. Sava dhamman parityaja. So just abandon all varieties. Sava is all, and dhamma, religiosity, duty, responsibilities. Parityaja, just abandon, give it up. And Sava dhamman parityaja mamikam saranam praja. So mam, me, ekam, one-pointedly, sharanam, in surrender, in a mood of surrender, raja, so go with urgency, or sometimes taken to refer to the mood of the devotees of Braj or Vrindavan Dham. So just surrender to Krishna in the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, or surrender to Krishna with urgency, one-pointedly, ekam. Aham tvam sava papebhyo bhakshayisyami vasucha. So I will protect you from all papam, or sinful reaction, or reactions to your, because by abandoning one's swadharma or duties that one should be performing, one's dharma, swadharma, what one should be performing in this life, well, generally speaking, normally there would be sinful reaction. Like if you just walk out on your job, or you walk out on your spouse, or your wife, or your children, hey, I'm not going to take care of you anymore. I'm not going to support you or provide for you. I just want to go and, have an affair with someone else and just forget about you. Well, there's reactions to this kind of behavior. We have responsibilities. If we abandon them, then this is bad for us, bad for them, bad for society. So anyway, normally speaking, if one abandons one's swadharma or responsibilities according to one's position in life by occupation and by ashram, then there'll be sinful reactions. But Krishna says, this is chapter 18, text 66, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, the most often quoted verse by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and generally speaking the Acharyas as well. That Krishna says he will protect us from whatever comes as a result of our surrendering to him one-pointedly. And he says, Masuchaha. So don't worry. Have no fear. Just surrender to Krishna. He will protect you. So of course, so everything in Bhagavad Gita leads towards this conclusion. So everything that Krishna is speaking is providing an explanation of the world as it is, this world, the spiritual world, time, karma, knowledge, all of it is leading up so that when one hears from Krishna, just abandon all varieties of Dharma and just surrender unto me. It's like, and that I will protect you, do not fear. It's like, okay, I can understand through the methodically working through Bhagavad Gita, through Krishna's methodical conversation with Arjuna, even though it sort of goes around into many different topics and comes back to the same topic several times. It's still by studying this Bhagavad Gita and coming to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, one can understand, yes, I understand why Krishna is saying this. This is the rightful conclusion of Bhagavad Gita based upon everything that Krishna has said before. So this process, or these processes of Buddhi Yoga and Karma Yoga and Nishkama Karma Yoga that are being discussed in this chapter 2, building and preparing us for the ultimate conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So in this text 50, Krishna says, Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukrita daskriti tajmad yogasya yujaswa yoga kama shukaujalam. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukrita daskriti tajmad yoga yujaswa yoga kama shukaujalam. A man engaged in devotional service, Buddhi yukta, Buddhi, this yoga of discernment, rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. Therefore, Tajmad, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work, kaujala, art or skill. So this Buddhi yoga, this yoga of discernment, this yoga of working with detachment, is described here by Krishna as the art of all work, and that a person who is engaged in it rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. So in the previous verse, Krishna said, O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities, or this can be taken as abominable reactions, far distance, or abominable karma, far distant by devotional service or Buddhi yoga. And in that consciousness, surrender unto the Lord, Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers or kripana, but this kripana can also mean miserable. So in this previous verse, text 49 that we discussed last week, Krishna was saying, by engaging in devotional service, you can avoid abominable activities or bad karma, and by being detached, by not wanting to enjoy the fruits of your activities, that by not being like that, then you won't be miserable, because those who are attached to the fruits of their activities are kripanas or misers or miserable. So then Krishna in this verse, text 50, is taking it a step further. He's saying not only can you avoid abominable activities and being miserable as a result of being attached to the fruits, you can also avoid good karma. So this is like, we're all ready to sign up. Where do I sign? Where do I sign to avoid bad karma and to avoid unhappiness and being miserable? So anybody who wants to sign up for that? Okay, we'll all sign up for that. But who wants to sign up for becoming free of good karma, or good reactions? That's a little harder. Wow, do I really want to sign up for that? I kind of like it when good stuff happens. If I suddenly make some money, or if I, have good children, or have a good job, everything's just going peachy, then I kind of feel pretty good about that. But, so giving up bad stuff is easy. The idea of giving up the good side of the material world, like this material world is like, there's a good and bad side. It's a world of duality, a world of relativity, love and hate, cold and hot, rich and poor, healthy, unhealthy, so it's educated, uneducated, beautiful, ugly, it's endless, all the different dualities that there are in this material world. And so, generally speaking, I'm quite fine with giving up the bad stuff, but giving up the good stuff, that's something else. It's a bit of a new idea, So Krishna is introducing here that a man engaged in Buddha yoga or devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. And of course, in the next verse, Krishna goes on to say that by the person who's engaged in this Buddha yoga or devotional service, free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death, and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead or going to Vaikuntha, the world of no anxiety. So the power of this process of Buddha yoga is quite amazing. That one can actually become free of the cycle of birth and death. Janma bandha vinira muktaha. In this way they become free from the cycle of birth and death, and attain the state beyond all miseries. Padam, gachanti, attain ananamayam. Anamayam is happiness, bliss. So, this is the power of this Buddha yoga, this yoga of discernment, this working without attachment to results, and that's included within bhakti yoga. But so then Krishna is saying that yoga karmashu kaujalam, this yoga is the art or the skill of all work. So previously, a couple of verses previously, Krishna said that yoga is equanimity. So he said in 248, perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So this sidya sidyo samo bhutva. So abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Yogastha kurukamani, perform your duty equipoised. Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya, abandon all attachment to success or failure. So, and that such equanimity, samatvam yoga uchite, is called yoga. So normally, of course, when we think of yoga, of course, yoga is an all-encompassing term. Chapter 1 in Sridhara Swami's naming of the chapters of Bhagavad Gita. In the Mahabharata, there is no chapter names. So in the original Mahabharata, there's no chapter names for Bhagavad Gita or any chapter. There's only names for the different khandas or cantos of the Mahabharata, but no chapter names. So the first chapter names were, which are generally followed by the Vaishnava acharyas, are the chapter names given by Sridhara Swami in the Middle Ages. One of the first and most prominent commentators on Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes you'll see different names of the chapters of Bhagavad Gita in different translations of the Bhagavad Gita. But there is actually no correct name for the chapters of Bhagavad Gita, in the sense that Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Mahabharata, didn't give chapter headings. They're just chapter after chapter after chapter of part of the kanda of the Mahabharata. So this Bhagavad Gita is actually spoken in Bhishma Kanda, and there's a large number of chapters, and Bhagavad Gita is contained within this Bhishma Pava, or Bhishma Kanda or Kanto of the Mahabharata. But anyway, so when Sridhar Swami gave different titles to the chapters of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1 is like the yoga of despair. So normally speaking, we wouldn't think of despair as being yoga. It's kind of like, well, wait, what? Of course, we're always thinking in terms of yoga, we're thinking in terms of bhakti yoga and loving union with the Supreme Person. But the Vedic outlook on life and existence is all-encompassing. So in chapter 1, the kind of yoga of despair is Arjuna's actually arguing with Krishna. He's not in a very union state of consciousness. He's arguing with Krishna, and he's getting all despondent, and he's despairing and kind of angry at Krishna that he's wanting him to fight. And but it's a yoga of despair, because it's bringing Arjuna closer to Krishna. By going through his anger and despondency and his despair, he's coming closer to the point where he surrenders to Krishna and achieves true yoga or union with Krishna. So there's many kind of meanings to yoga, just as there's hatha yoga, right? So hatha yoga is like preparatory or preparatory physical exercises to sort of prepare one to be able to have the physical strength and breath control and ability to be able to engage in the later stages or the latter stages of yoga, that are contained within the Astanga yoga of Patanjali, the 8 stages of yoga. And so, so this yoga of acting in a detached consciousness, being equal in success or failure. One of the different words that Krishna uses. So he says, performing duty without attachment to the results, being unattached to success or failure, feeling no entitlement to the results of one's activities. Krishna said in text 47, that you're never, never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. So don't feel like you're the cause. Be aware that there's the Supreme or Providence is in control. You're not the one who creates the results. The results come, but you're not the one responsible for those results, for creating those results. You're not entitled to the fruits of action, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So these qualities in and of themselves, or these characteristics, this way of working in a detached way, in itself, this is not like, it's in itself, it's not actually spiritual, right? In the sense that, we were discussing in the Healing Chant 108 class on Friday, that there, the qualities that Lord Chaitanya is describing in this in text 3, verse 3 of the Shiksastika, Lord Chaitanya's 8 wonderful verses of spiritual instruction, that there is Trina Dapi Suni Shenor, so feeling lower than the straw on the street, feeling lower than the downtrodden grass or ablated grass. Tara Riva Sahishnuna, being more tolerant than a tree. Amainina Manadena, being devoid of all sense of false prestige, and being ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So these qualities of feeling lower than the straw on the street, feeling lower than a blade of grass, so humility, and being more tolerant than a tree, so tolerance, being devoid of all sense of false prestige, so being devoid of false pride, and being able to offer all respects to others. You don't have to be a devotee of Krishna to have these qualities. There are many impersonalists who have these qualities, or mystic yogis, or even you may find very humble people, just people you may come across, sometimes people I work with, you find, well, they're actually very humble and very tolerant, and just devoid of no false pride, not thinking they're great, and very respectful. In fact, of course, this is very much a quality of many, it becomes cultural in different countries. For example, a number of people who attend my classes, live in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, everyone's very respectful. I call you sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So like, no one calls you sir in Australia, or here in Hawaii is very rare, but of course there's a number of Anyway, point is, in certain cultures that just have more respect, people are more respectful. And so anyway, point is, these qualities of themselves, they're not the same as bhakti or love for Krishna. Prema bhakti, love for Krishna. So the quality of prema bhakti is love for Krishna. Krishna is the most important person in my life. The purpose of my life is to serve and please my spiritual master in Krishna. So these are the characteristics and qualities of bhakti. And these qualities of bhakti are described in the Nectar Devotional Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. But these, the qualities of bhakti are not humility and tolerance. These are like preparatory qualities. And when one has these qualities, then one can take to the chanting of the holy name, because one appreciates that I'm very insignificant, that I'm a servant of the Lord. And, so then one can take to the chanting of the holy names. So similarly, this buddhi yoga, or this nishkama kama yoga, or kama yoga, this is like a stage that elevates one. So it's not love for Krishna, like working with detachment. That's not love for Krishna. That's not bhakti. But being able to work with detachment, with being equal in success or failure, being equipoised, working without attachment to the fruits, without feeling entitlement to the fruits of my labor, not feeling that I'm the cause of the results that come from my labor. These characteristics is like, essentially, this is detachment. And so this detachment is similar in the sense to having humility or tolerance. These are qualities that help bring one to the point of being able to develop love for Krishna. Because one who is acting in detachment without feeling that I'm the cause of the results and being unattached to the fruits, a person in this consciousness is, as Krishna will go on to describe in a sequence of verses coming up, a person in this consciousness is not engaged in sense gratification. They're not seeing themselves as the center. They're like performing their duty. They're performing their duty because duty must be done. And of course, in the Vedic construct, duty is in relation to one's God-given situation. So God has put me in this situation. The Supreme has put me into this particular body, and I have these particular duties to perform. And so I should perform these duties. And I should. In fact, Krishna says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. Adhikara, you have a right to perform these duties. So this karma yoga, this yoga, buddhi yoga, this yoga of discernment, or working without attachment to the results, this is very purifying and elevates one to the point where we can come closer to developing love for Krishna. I mean, it's very much like, you can compare it to just as in, like when one takes initiation from the spiritual master, Harinama initiation or Diksha, then one makes a commitment to follow 4 regulated principles, to not eat meat, fish or eggs, to not engage in gambling, to not take intoxicants, and to not engage in illicit sex or sex outside of marriage. So there's these 4 regulated principles, And these four regulative principles keep one from engaging in the most, the pillars of sinful life. Right? Gambling, intoxication, meat eating, and womanizing, right? Illicit sex. So by committing to not follow these, makes it possible that we can move forward in our spiritual life. So, but these things in and of themselves are not bhakti or love for Krishna. These are like principles that will help us attain bhakti. Similarly in Patanjali's Astanga Yoga system, he has the yamas and niyamas, and these, which are the rules and regulations and the don'ts, things you should do and things you shouldn't do. So these are principles that help us move forward in yoga and working up the yoga ladder, and so this is is where this Buddha yoga and Karma yoga and Nishkama Karma yoga all fit in. They're all processes and ways of acting that help elevate us to the point where we can come to Bhakti yoga. So, Krishna describes this as the art of all work, the skill of all work. So generally speaking, we tend to look at skill or consider skill as meaning, oh yeah, he or she have great skills, they're a really good cook, or they're a really big brain and they can, think of things great, or they're a great business manager, or they're a good accountant, or a really good surfer, whatever it is. We think, oh, they're highly skilled. They're very skilled, very skillful. And, or they're very artistic, a very good understanding of how to do things and able to do things very well. So here there's a little bit of a different idea here. Is Krishna is saying that the art or the skill of all work is actually to work in this consciousness of equanimity, of being detached from the results, of being equal in happiness, in success or failure. So this is a little bit of a different way for us to think about, the art of work or the skill or being skillful. Of course, this is not to say that we should just, I'll be detached, so I'll just do a crappy job. No. In fact, actually the opposite. The opposite is the case. It's not like Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita and trying to get Arjuna to fight, but telling him, look, just do a crappy job. Just, hey, success or failure doesn't matter, so what does it matter? Just do a crappy job. No, Krishna never, ever suggests anything even remotely like such a foolish philosophy as that. And we can see from the practical example of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, his desire to do things really well. Prabhupada is very concerned to do things right, to do it well. He's doing it for Krishna, and so he wants to do it right. But if it doesn't work, but the detachment is in the realization and understanding that the result is up to Krishna. We may succeed or fail. That's not up to me. Of course, I do my best. I do my very best. I do my best to do it right. I apply all my skill and energy and effort to perform my duty as best I can, or to do this service for my spiritual master and Krishna as best I can. But I'm detached in the sense that I know the ultimate result is up to Krishna. I'm not responsible for the ultimate result. Of course, we accept responsibility. If the result doesn't go the way we want it, of course we look and see, what could I have done better? what should I have done differently? But at the same time, if we've done our best and things just don't go our way, well, then we appreciate, well, Krishna is in control. All throughout the Bhagavatam and the different stories. In fact, I've been reading 10th canto, and repeatedly the devotee, when bad things happen, they attribute it to providence. This is the will of the Supreme. This thing is happening as a result of my previous karma, and this is the will of the Supreme. So this kind of acceptance of the way things are without getting all angry and upset about it. So this is also part of this yoga of discernment, this detachment, this equanimity in the face of good and bad outcomes, happiness or distress. And so many times throughout Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks of this equanimity, this equanimity in happiness and distress. In chapter 18, text 54, Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochiti na kankshiti. So, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. So, attaining Brahma Bhuta realization, this actual realizing my spiritual identity. And when one attains this platform of Brahma Bhuta, then one, Prasanatma, becomes very joyful or very jolly. Sometimes Bhaktivedanta Swami would call it, become very jolly, very happy, in achieving Brahma Bhuta realization. And Sochiti na Kankshiti, being equal in happiness and distress. Sama sabeshu bhuteshu, being equal to all living entities. And that in such a consciousness, one can then attain to devotional service. So, anyway, so this is the art of yoga, the art of all work, being able to work in equanimity without attachment to the results, being equal in success or failure. So we should all try to be yogis in this way. So anyway, so I think that's it for tonight. Thank you very much. And I'll just chant a little bit. So on Friday night we'll have another class on the third text in the Shikshashtaka. And next week we'll study Bhagavad Gita 251, although I spoke on that a bit tonight already. So we'll probably cover a couple of extra verses. So anyway, thank you very much. Haribol, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Haribo, Krishna Krishna. Thank you all very much. Haribo.